It is my honor to call to order this city council special meeting. New business, update to the proposed 2027 budget public hearing time and date.
Thank you. As you recall, at your last meeting, you set September 2nd at 7 p.m. for our budget time and hearing date. I will admit, due to my mistake, we previously, when we had our meetings on Monday, we could always publish the same week we approved the budget hearing, and that gave us our required notice. With us being on Wednesday, we did not get or cannot publish that same week, so our notice would have gone in next week's paper. And state statute requires a 10-day notice between your date of publication in the newspaper and the date of the hearing. So we are not able to hold our budget hearing legally on September 2nd. The big issue that arises from that is the date that went out on the R&R notices, and we cannot change the revenue neutral rate hearing, even if the county was willing to send out updated notices. They ran into the situation, there's an AG opinion that says after July 20th, if you can't basically change your hearing date. So that means our R&R hearing that's scheduled, we are still free to hold it, but we would be considered not compliant with the R&R statutes. So belt and suspenders at that point says we need to adopt a budget that reflects the revenue neutral rate or meets or exceeds, meets or falls below that, excuse me, not exceeds. So we went back through the budget. I gave you kind of a handout on the changes we made. Essentially, it required cutting approximately $100,000 out of the last proposed budget that you all saw and went through at work sessions, and how we achieved that to fall below the revenue neutral rate as we lowered the street transfers by $50,000. We're still transferring $250, but originally it was set at $300. The $25,000 plan transfer to the risk management reserve, we went ahead and removed that. We have transferred the last 2 years, and last year we were able to transfer more than anticipated, so we felt that that reserve fund should probably be okay for the 27 year, barring, of course, that we don't have to utilize it. We also lowered the disaster reserve line item by $25,000, which allowed us to still have some reserve funds set aside, but not at the level it was. Then we did increase the Dragon Grant line item by $10,000 from what this year. Again, that was more based on some previous conversations during the budget work session and wanting to hopefully find more money for that. And we did that by, we did see some additional revenues that we had not planned to come in where they were at, but they are trending higher and they'll end more positive than we had anticipated. So we did allow for that additional revenue, which is kind of really what helped us bump that Dragon Grant line item up. Net outcome is that the 2027 budget is now set at a mill rate that is lower than the revenue neutral rate. It's even actually lower than the final 2025 adopted budget mill rate. Your next handout just gives you that kind of effect of the changes of us putting a mill. So the combined mill rate was 73.989. We were getting to the point, where we were chasing $1,200, $1,500, so we just kind of called it good because this will meet. It will also ensure that we're low enough that barring any major change in that estimated assessed valuation, we should still be below the R&R rate. So we wanted to allow for that as well. It does obviously equal into, for the city portion of property taxes, potentially lowering that. But depending on the other tax entities and valuation increase, as we've discussed, that doesn't necessarily mean people will have a lower tax bill, but at least their city portion of it should be lower than what it has been. So you have the new notice of budget hearing there as the last page, which sets us now for September 16th. That is compliant. That is before the September 20th line. I will probably still advise that we go through the R&R just for those of you that are newer. It's a good habit to get into, assuming that that's the mechanism that sticks around in some way, shape, or form as we have state changes. Just know that it's technically not going to meet the legal requirements of the R&R, but there's no shame in having a public hearing and allowing citizens to address you all on their concerns or issues with the budget. And then we'll have another public hearing now, assuming you give us permission to publish this at September 16th, where you would formally adopt the budget. So again, my apologies. It's entirely my fault that this clerical error happened and that we did not catch that date mismatch earlier. But this is how we have to pivot to deal with it. And yeah. I mean, the thing I will point out is it will affect us. We will, be doing less as far as the street transfer, things of that nature. And it's probably going to impact, future projection carryover, not necessarily our carryover into 27, but it will definitely probably impact what we're looking for when we start to do the 28 budget, so.
So we need a motion for publishing this, and,
I have a quick question before we.
sure.
I'm just curious why increasing the Dragon grant was done, instead of, say, only you doing the, street transfer at 40,000.
We can do that. I mean, whatever you guys want to do. Any of those things can be played. We just kind of, as we were going and found it, and yeah, we can do 260 as opposed to 2.
There was some discussion because of the disappointment of how the Dragon grant had been in the past, where they cut it in half. And we're not Dragon granting nearly as much as we used to, and trying to build that up was where that direction came from.
All right.
And that 10 would basically fund three $10,000 requests if you got that many.
And just a note, we've already got 2 interested businesses that have contacted the city for next year, so that's halfway through 2026. We're already getting 2 requests for 2027.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yep, nope, some of it's
That's a
just
good question.
even numbers.
I think the separations, we'll make it work. We gotta do, we'll make it work.
In the end,
Yeah. Eventually, I would like to see the Dragon grant extended to brick and mortars that aren't on Main Street. If possible. And I know it's possible, but it's never been available to people who have brick and mortar businesses that are not on Main Street. But they still pay taxes like everybody else does.
well, we gave the tire shop.
Well, that's in the zone.
He's in the business area, yes,
That's in the zone.
yeah. I think if someone off of the main street applied for it, we would probably be there for them.
But the people on the east part of town, as you go out of town, they could, we lost a business. I don't know where they went, but that auto recovery thing,
Oh, they're on McNair?
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a few businesses over there that might benefit from this, if it were available.
Ethan, does this motion have to have a date or just a direction? Okay.
Yeah, we would need to, state that you want to set the budget hearing for Wednesday, September 16th at 7 PM.
Was September 16th?
Yep. Let me double check. Pretty sure I've looked at that date a million times now, but
Just to let you know, I will not be here that evening. So,
yes, September 16th
Lee and Brandt.
is the 3rd Wednesday.
just so you know. Not that I have to
Well,
be here.
with that, there's no more discussion or any questions. Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion for staff to publish budget for Wednesday, September 16th at 7 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. I believe that closes our business. We have a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's get out of here.
I like